So right now, Ripple is waiting on an important decision in whether or not the SEC is actually going to be forced to turn over some of the most important documents in this case. That being the emails revolving around the Bill Hinman Ethereum free pass speech. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what the SEC is trying to do to hide it, delay, and what Ripple's actually seeking to do, and if they're going to get their way. Because if the decision goes one way or the other, we could be talking settlement a lot more in these videos. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel we are covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, but I'm also covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the Late Night Grind community. And don't forget to hit that bell notification icon so that YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And if you're feeling generous today, I'd appreciate it if you do two things. Smash that thumbs up button and watch this video all the way to the end. Those are really the two best things that you can do to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. Okay, so right now, everybody's waiting for the big decision to come down on whether or not the SEC is going to be forced, finally, to turn over the documents relating to Bill Hinman's speech. Now, if you remember back several months, this is actually going back to January, Judge Netburn ruled that what the court believes is that the Bill Hinman's speech was essentially Bill Hinman's opinion, and therefore all the different notes, all the different discussions, all of the different drafts, everything that went surrounding that speech was essentially or is essentially not covered by the deliberative process privilege, meaning things cannot be hidden because those discussions and those meetings and those notes were not officially used to talk about creating policy and policy framework. So of course, this is what the SEC has been trying to hide for a very long time. Now they've been trying to hide a bunch of other stuff too, but this is becoming more public by the week. So John Deaton, who is taking on the SEC, representing 66,000 XRP holders and going after the SEC in a class action lawsuit, believes that this is one of the most important decisions that the judge is going to have to make in this case about the documents. And so what John Deaton has to say is that we could be talking settlement a lot sooner than people think if the judge rules in a certain way. Well, what's the judge ruling on? So what I just said about the judge believing that the courts believe that that was Bill Hinman's opinion, well, the SEC is essentially asking for a reconsideration. They're asking the judge to reconsider her ruling on that, basically asking her to change her mind. I don't know if that's going to happen, but here's what could happen if she doesn't change her mind. And the SEC is forced to turn over those documents as stated. John Deaton believes that if forced, once that happens within 60 to 90 days, we could be talking settlement, case over, case done for Ripple and for Chris Larsen and Brad Garlinghouse. Now, what if she rules the other way? What if she does change her mind? What if she does change her mind? Well, that's a little bit of a new ballgame. Deaton believes that settlement now becomes back to a 50-50 scenario, and Ripple will likely go even harder at summary judgment, which they're going to do, and I'm going to talk about it later in this video. But here's the thing. If the judge actually sticks with her original decision and calls the speech opinion and all of those notes and all those documents the SEC is desperately trying to hide and calls them to be forced to be turned over, well, the SEC has already said they're going to appeal that decision to Judge Torres. If that happens and Judge Torres rules against it, they can actually go to a higher court. So Jeremy Hogan was actually stating that they can actually go through a number of different appeals and keep on delaying and delaying and delaying so that these documents don't actually have to come out, at least not for a very long time, potentially. But in his latest video, Jeremy Hogan did lay out that some of those appeals are extremely difficult to get, and he doesn't foresee that happening in this particular court case relating to these particular documents and the DPP. So, do we have to worry about that? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but it sounds like things are still leaning in Ripple's favor. So what else did Ripple do to put a little bit more pressure on what the SEC is doing? Well, recently the SEC had filed a motion to the judge where they wanted to redact a lot of information for notes that were taken with meetings with third parties that they want redacted, that basically they don't want the public to see. The judge, of course, will still see it, but the public will not. So Ripple actually came in on top a couple of days ago and filed for an extension so that they can argue against what the SEC is trying to redact. All right, so what's this mean? Let's unpack it a little bit. The SEC doesn't want certain information becoming public, but they still have to turn over certain documents. Ripple is going to get to see those documents. However, what Ripple is doing is basically formulating a response so that they can actually see the documents, which are going to have to be submitted early next week, and they'll get to see all that information, and they want to see if there's information in that documentation that they actually want covered up as well, or if they're going to object against it and they want that information coming public. It's one of the more nuanced pieces of this case, only if you are looking really in depth that you're following, but this is one of the key pieces that I am definitely following in this case. It was actually a very smart move in favor of Ripple because them being able to see what the SEC is trying to hide and then getting to say whether or not they object to it or agree to it, it's a pretty smart move. All right, so nonetheless, several days ago, Ripple has made it known that they want to move forward with talks about summary judgment. They actually filed a motion with the judge and wanted to confer with the SEC on dates in which they'd have to actually submit briefings, submit information to start talks about a summary judgment trial. They wanted it no later than May 22nd to start initiating and to start submitting briefs and motions. However, the SEC, according to Ripple, has not been playing ball with them. That's certainly not shocking. So Ripple wants May 22nd, the date to be where both sides start to submit their information in the talks of summary judgment. So the SEC said they don't want to do it, at least not until they've received the answers from the individual defendants, of course, the executives and CEO of Ripple. So why are they doing that? Well, the answers that I'm talking to refer to the answers that Brad and Chris have to give to the SEC's original complaint. There's actually a deadline that is April 8th. The answers could be submitted at any time before that, but as of right now, those answers from Brad and Chris have to be submitted by the 8th. So the SEC said, listen, we're not going to commit to anything revolving motions and going into talks of summary judgment until we see the answers from Brad and Chris regarding our original complaint. So that is going to be a key piece of information that is going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. And in fact, it may even take a little bit longer because I just saw that the individual defendants, Brad and Chris, filed for an extension to answer some of those questions. So I know how XRP holders and people who are interested in this Ripple case absolutely love all of the delays and extensions. It's just becoming an accepted part of this case. But nonetheless, Ripple has their reasons for doing it too. So that is why we are waiting on a big decision from the judge in this case as to whether the SEC actually has to turn over those documents and if and when they're actually going to appeal it, because John Deaton, who's going after the SEC, thinks this is one of the most important pieces of the case. So if you want to follow along with this story in particular, as well as all the other topics that I follow on this channel, make sure you subscribe to the Late Night Grind community. You can also follow me on Twitter. There's a link in the description below. You can always follow me there. I talk about a lot of these topics on Twitter, sometimes before I even make videos about them, so you might get some early information if you follow me there. Also, if you are new to the channel, go ahead and visit the community tab. I put polls up there on a weekly basis, and I love to get your thoughts on the different stories revolving the Ripple versus the SEC case, revolving cryptocurrencies, investment markets, or just financial markets in general. Go ahead and take part in those polls. I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.